Today we're going to discuss a different side of cross rhythms, and this is using the beautiful ornamental passages that we find in many composers, but today I'm going to focus on a couple of examples from Chopin's wonderful piano music. The first example will be the Waltz in C sharp minor, Opus 64, number 2, specifically in the più lento section, and I'll specify exactly when we get there. And then the second example will be the Nocturne in E minor, Opus 72, number 1, which has some lovely examples of 8 against 3 and 11 against 3 and so on and so forth. So we'll go to that. In preparation for this, and I've taught this piece, this is measure 84 going into 85, and it's an 8 against 3. I decided to go on YouTube and listen to many different concert pianists, which I did, and I specifically listened to this phrase, and it was interesting because they all play it relatively similarly. A couple of them added a note or two, but it was very clear. So one of the things I do with students when they have something like an 8 against 3, I don't worry about the math a lot, but you can, you say, well, there's 3 beats, 8 doesn't fit that. So to make things simple, I match up the right and left hand in some kind of a 2 plus 3 plus 3, or it might be 3 plus 2 plus 3, or it could be 3 plus 3 plus 2. So you can shift where you have the 2. So my favorite is the 2 plus 3 plus 3. So here's the passage. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1. And if you add the right hand, if you add the left hand to that, 1, 2, 3, 1. In measure 85, the triplet is actually indicated. So again, my favorite is the 2 plus 3 plus 3. And every recording I listened to a few days ago all did that in some fashion. Then if I decide to do 3 plus 2 plus 3, it would sound like this. Which is okay, it's a little bit awkward. And then 3 plus 3 plus 2. And you may like that. Again, that's a little bit awkward coming out of it. So I, again, prefer the 2 plus 3 plus 3. I'll play this phrase, which is measures 81 through 85, to get a sense of the feel and the phrasing and the singing nature. Another Chopin piece is and many Chopin pieces use these ornamental passages that are just glorious. And again, they're wonderful examples of singing at the piano. So the Nocturne in E minor, Opus 72, number 1, has some pretty simple, meaning not as extensive as Chopin is known for doing 35 over 3 or 35 over 4 or 22 over 6, whatever it is, and those are interesting, but you can use the same principles in the more complicated ones as we do in the simpler ones. So this is a good example, another one of the 8 against 3 which is measure 34. And again, my favorite, but it depends on the piece, of 8 against 3, to do 2 plus 3 plus 3 initially. So we line up the right hand and the left hand. And so I'll do 2 16th notes, 3 and 3, with the 3 notes in the left hand. So it will sound like this. And of course you don't want to perform it like that. But that's how you do in the beginning, at least for me, when I teach students, is I have them line it up. And so you say, well, why didn't Chopin write it that way? Because he gave us an option. 8 against 3 gives us lots of things to think about. After you get it and there's an ease in playing, then you can kind of just swoop to the bottom. So and you're not really hearing. So you have that. So in further down in measure 35, let's hear this. That's one way to play that. How it's written is it says 10 against 3, and on the first note it has a little trill. One of the fun things I love to tell students is with a trill or a turn or a mordant or whatever ornament the composer uses, to me that says there are at least 2 options. When a student is younger, I will work really hard in helping them follow performance practices and do trills as simple as possible, work on their bank account of trills, and so on and so forth. As they progress in their piano study, we can look at other ways to perform these trills. And in this one, sometimes I have students do the trill slightly before the beat. Or you might want to. And then in measure 37, you have 11 against 3, which is let's see, 3 plus 4 plus 4, or you could do 4 plus 3 plus 4, or 4 plus 4 plus 3. So my favorite, I'll play that, is here's the right hand. So if I do 3 plus 4 plus 4, 1, 2, 3. So if I add that with the left hand. Here's a 4 plus 3 plus 4. And I'm kind of accenting where the beats are. And then 4 plus 4 plus 3. It's actually a good practice tip to shift around where you would do 3 plus 4 plus 4, and then do 4 plus 3 plus 4, and then do 4 plus 4 plus 3. In that way, you actually kind of see where things fall. Eventually, you want to have a freedom in your expression and a freedom in performing that passage. So let me see if I can handle this. So even do 3 plus 3 plus 5. And again, I would practice it as many ways as possible, all the while doing right hand, left hand. So that just gives a little bit of some tips in how to do these interesting ornamental passages of Chopin where they don't line up in the normal way. Certainly different than 3 against 2 or 4 against 3, but 8 against 3 or 11 against 3. And so start out really measuring it out, and then as you learn and develop in performing and getting the technical aspects and the musical aspects and interpretive aspects of the piece, you will just sort of be able to execute that passage and it will become your own. Again, what's so interesting is to listen to the great pianists and see how they do it, and that can give more ideas. So let me know if you have any questions, and on to the next.